What's up, everyone? Week 1 is over, and here comes a review. But first, hit that like button, hit that subscription button. But most importantly, we want to hear what you have to say about your team after Week 1. So hit those comments up. Let's go. I want to start off by saying, plain and simple, I think you can tell there's no preseason. All you Jaguar fans and everyone that thinks the Jaguars are going to make the playoffs because they won Week 1 against a division team that they already played tough. Relax. Don't bet your house on Jacksonville Jaguars winning Week 2. I would not bet the house on the Washington football team winning the division. That's number 2. And number 3, yes, I'll say it, and I think we're going to start with this game just to get the steam out of the room because we are all Dolphin fans. The next time I hear the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl this year, I'm going to call ESPN personally and tell them all to jump off the Patriots bandwagon very quickly because we had 3 turnovers, and if it's not for those 3 turnovers, we win Week 1 in New England, and anyone could come argue us on this show. So, Bucs, now that the steam is gone, let's start Week 1 review, shall we?
Okay, first of all, even though, yes, we had Big E on, and I want to thank him again for coming on, and we all picked the Dolphins. It wasn't out of the realm of possibility that they could have won that game. As crazy as that sounds, remember one thing. At a point in the third quarter, the Dolphins were down 3. It's not like they were getting blown out. Yes, they were getting run over. They had 200 yards of rushing. That we now have the 32nd ranked rushing defense, but yet the number 1 pass defense because they didn't pass on us. However, that being said, when your quarterback throws 3 interceptions, 2 of them pretty much in the end zone, and you allow 200 yards rushing, unless Dan Marino's back there, you're probably not going to win that game. Because I saw a lot of games in my life where Marino had pretty much that, and he threw the picks, and he still came back. But that's Marino. That's a whole other story. That notwithstanding, the Dolphins do have a little bit of work to do after Week 1. But while we go through this entire thing, I'm going to say the likes, the dislikes, where I was right, where I was wrong. But I'm going to say one thing to every single NFL fan out there. In the immortal words of the great Aaron Rodgers, RELAX, relax. It's 1 week. It's only 1 week. It's only 1 game. You could take a couple of things from each game, but you know what? Don't overblow it. Just like with the Dolphins, don't overblow it. Just like anybody else, don't overblow it. And we're going to go through a couple of games, and I got a couple of notes on each of the games, but it's just 1 week. Now, that notwithstanding, before I start my review, I'll tell you one thing. At the end of Week 1, my Super Bowl prediction still looks pretty good because I said KC, New Orleans, and both those teams look like they're ready to go to the Super Bowl. It's a long season. Anything can happen. But right now, both those teams look pretty good. So let's continue.
Yeah. To add to what you said, there was no preseason, and you can definitely tell in these games that there was a little bit of cobwebs for some teams. Coach, what stood out to you? Let's talk about the Raiders and Panthers game. I think the Raiders were underrated coming into the season. I think all 3 of us picked the Raiders to win the game. But Derek Carr showed up. We all knew what Josh Jacobs did last season. He looks like he didn't even have an off season. And the Raiders are picking up right where they left off last season. So, Coach, give me some thoughts on that game.
First thing I'd like to say, big shout out to Josh Jacobs. As our buddy Kojak knows, Josh Jacobs torched the Carolina Panthers with 3 touchdowns. The Raiders defense, to me, really didn't stand out. Wasn't that impressive all game, but just in the critical moment, a 4th down, late in the game, that was a crucial stop to help the Raiders take home the W. Christian McCaffrey, he's on the field a lot. They are using that kid a lot. He's 97% of the time he's on the field. That's a lot. And Robbie Anderson, very impressive, very impressive, very fast. It looks like it'll be a good combination with him and Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, they did. The Panthers look good. Both teams looked very good. Again, there are some cobwebs, so they have to shake it off. But to me, that was a Christian McCaffrey and Josh Jacobs show. I mean, both of them put on a hell of a show Week 1. Raiders did come up on the top, and I don't want to say Josh Jacobs looked that much better than McCaffrey, but he definitely looked like he's going to be a force to be reckoned with this season. I'm not, again, don't be betting your house on him being like a top 5 running back, but he might be a top 5 running back. Bucs, you want to add something to this Raiders and Panthers game? I know you're a big Derek Carr fan, as we all are here.
Yeah, just 2 quick points on the game. First of all, it was a very, very good game. Came down to the wire, like Coach said. Great 4th down stop by the Raiders defense. But the final score was like 34-38. It wasn't like a blowout. They both played well.
It was a really tight game.
Josh Jacobs looks great. 3 rushing touchdowns. Anytime you got 3 rushing touchdowns, it's a very good game for your running back. Derek Carr, and we talked about Derek Carr when we talked about the AFC West, and we talked about Derek Carr when we talked about fantasy quarterbacks. And I said I wanted to see John Gruden get Derek Carr and help him take that next step. Derek Carr looked damn good on Sunday. And going forward, they keep those wheels turning, man. Now he's got Josh Jacobs, grinding it out. Yes, the defense has to step up overall, but he looked solid. He looked sharp, made the throws when he needed to make them. He's very comfortable. He's getting more and more comfortable with Gruden's system. And, going forward, it was a good win for the Raiders. Like I said, my 2 notes were really Jacobs and Carr. They both look good, and going forward, they're going to carry that team. Yeah.
And Derek Carr was in the news this week because I don't know why people hate him so much, but whatever. He's not a very liked person, I guess you can say, in the news, and people always bang on him, and they're always like, oh, Derek Carr this, Derek Carr that. And Derek Carr kind of fired back, and let me tell you something, Carr. Good for you. I'm glad you're firing back because mainly quarterbacks usually get a pass, and they're like, oh, you know what? He's new, this and that. Derek Carr got none of that, and he went straight into the hot seat since the second he stepped. Maybe because his brother was in the NFL already, but still no excuse. Good for Derek Carr. I'm happy the Raiders won. That's for Alfie and Anthony. And we'll talk about Johnny. You almost guessed this one, and I think I know why you didn't go on the upset. You probably would have had a better record if you did call this upset. But it's again week 1. Everyone relax. It's not like the Redskins are going to make the playoffs now.
They're not the Redskins anymore.
The football team.
Correct.
Washington football team. Take over on the Washington football team. God damn it.
The first thing I want to say, I want to send this out to my boy Rashawn. Guy I worked with a couple of years back. Great guy. Huge Philly fan. That guy was talking smack to me about the Eagles since 2015. But when they won the Super Bowl in 2017, you couldn't get him to stop talking about the Eagles. Then the Dolphins beat the Eagles last year on a fluke. And I told him, you lost to the Dolphins. And he had to swallow it. He had no choice but to swallow it. Well, now, like I told him yesterday, listen, the Dolphins might have lost on Sunday, but you lost to a team without a mascot. You blew a 17-point lead to a team without a mascot. And I said it. We talked about it. And the one thing I said, I was picking Philly to win, but not to cover. Why? Because that Washington front 4 has 4 number 1 picks on it, and they are going to give Carson Wentz hell. They gathered 8 sacks on the Eagles. They went from being down 17-0 to winning the game 27-17. Now, I don't think the Washington football team is all world, but that front 4 and Ron Rivera coaching them are serious. And in the NFC East, you know, the league better take note. Maybe they're not a complete team just yet. Maybe they're still rebuilding. But that front 4, as they showed the Eagles, 8 sacks in a game will alter the course of a game. So keep your eye out for the Washington football team, who, by the way, is first in the NFC East, and they don't have a mascot. Sean, I love you, bro.
Oh, God. We'll get to the Cowboys after. I can't believe the Cowboys can't beat a good team. Actually, never mind. I can't believe the Cowboys can't beat a good team. Coach, your coach, Ron Rivera. I'm a big Ron Rivera fan, and we talked about it in the NFC East episode that was a big signing for the Washington football team.
Correct.
And what does he bring? Those 8 sacks, is that something that he's going to do every game, or are they really going to be, you know, the best defensive line in the NFL this season?
Ron Rivera is a defensive genius. Washington's offense took advantage of opportunities that were given to him by the defense, and they closed the deal. They finished. The defense put them in great positions. Great job for Ron Rivera and his team. The first game of the season, and Washington looks like they'll have a great upside with Ron Rivera in the future.
They're only going to build more on that team, and like Johnny said, you better be careful with that team. The Giants did. I believe the Giants hold the record for like the worst team to make it from the NFC East or from any division and win the Super Bowl, right? The Giants, the year they faced the Patriots, I believe.
Yes, because they won the last game of the season against the Cowboys, if I'm mistaken. I remember that game. They were about to fire their coach, Coughlin. They were about to fire Coughlin that day, and he won the last game of the season, put him in the playoffs. They won like the last wild card, and they went all the way, and they won the Super Bowl, and they gave him a contract. So, and then he won another one. But they literally were ready to fire him the last game of the season. And then he ends up beating the Cowboys, and he ends up beating the Patriots. And then they give him oh, no, we were just kidding. Come back. You won a title. We'll give you some more money. So.
Packers, Vikings. I love the reaction. Packers, Vikings. The one guy in the room that got this game right. And me and Kelly are over here in the corner like, go ahead, bro. Take your 5 minutes, bro.
First of all, you're lucky I don't put up the green matrix behind me because I did call the game. Now, before I start, because I've had this conversation with my boy Rob, dating back a few months now. I don't know if he's ever going to see this, but I am going to tag him on Twitter. There's a gentleman by the name of Davante Adams that I owe a huge apology to, because I've known about Davante Adams for many years, and for some ungodly reason, when we talked about the NFC North, the Norris division, we didn't mention Davante Adams. And then when we talked about quarterbacks, and I talked about number 12, who's God, we didn't talk about Davante Adams. Well, Davante Adams said, by the way, listen to your boy Rob and pay attention, because I am the best receiver in the NFC North, the Norris division, and I proved it on Sunday. 14 catches, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Just to start the season, just because he can, because he's just that good. By the way, the Vikings defense, which we thought we're going to give them hell and we're going to be there for, and the Mike Zimmer, coach, we're going to talk about. You can talk about Zimmer. He's a hell of a coach. 14 for 156 and 2 touchdowns to start the year. Damn, Davante, if you see this, man, I'm really sorry. I know you're a beast. I've always known you're a beast. You proved to me you're a beast, and I'm sorry we didn't mention you before. But I'm here to tell you now, and to all our listeners from here on in, he is the best receiver in the NFC North. He's one of the best receivers in the league. And if you don't know about him or you want to discard him, don't do it, because he's going to put up these kind of numbers. Second thing is, yes, I did pick the Packers to win. And yes, it did give me the lead for the week. We'll talk about that later. And the last thing, I'm just touch on one thing. I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, if you hadn't heard about Aaron Rodgers or you don't know who Aaron Rodgers is, I tried to break down all his numbers. You didn't want to listen to me. I talked to him when we talked about fantasy football. You didn't want to listen to me. He threw 4 touchdowns on Sunday on the Vikings. He obliterated them. The only reason the final score looks any closer than it did, because pretty much it was garbage time. He completely annihilated the Vikings. You want to know why? Because he's Aaron freaking Rodgers. He's number 12. He's God. He's the only guy who's got a Super Bowl trophy, and he's got the big gold belt, and he held it when he won the Super Bowl trophy, because he's that much of a champion. If he ever sees his number 12, you are number 1 in my book. I love you to death. I will always love you to death. And go Pack, go.
You make me sick. Coach, week 1, no preseason, but Vikings have no excuse to let a division foe like this, a team that you're going to be battling for the division, come into their house and smack them up. Smack them up, like Johnny just said. Aaron Rodgers pretty much 2 claps to Ric Flair, slapped them, chopped them right in the chest. Who's going to stop Aaron Rodgers? Are we going to have Aaron Rodgers going back to the Super Bowl? It's hard. Drew Brees didn't have a good second half, so there is a little talk here where Aaron Rodgers looks like that boy hasn't missed a step, and he's ready to take over the NFC.
I still want to believe that Minnesota is going to give him a run the next time around. Danielle Hunter was missing from that defensive line on Minnesota. So basically, Aaron Rodgers got away with little to no pressure. Out of 44 times that he dropped back, he was only pressured 7 times. That is not a Mike. That's definitely not a Mike Zimmer defense at all. Aaron Rodgers took advantage of some inexperienced defensive backs. He torched them. I mean, just like what Bach said, Devontae Adams had a record-setting night for the Packers with his 14 receptions.
Yeah, and to add to that, you can't beat a guy like Aaron Rodgers and not put pressure on him. You just can't. If you let Aaron Rodgers sit back there all game long, you're good. It's exactly what happened. You're going to get torched. There's no Aaron Rodgers. First off, if you think Aaron Rodgers is a bad quarterback, you shouldn't be watching football. Secondly, stop it. Enough. There's no comments. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. He's the man. And moving on to the next one, from one quarterback to 2 other premier quarterbacks in the NFL for the past few years. Another division rivalry. Game 1, Tom Brady in the Buccaneers jersey against the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara. Not Drew Brees. Tom Brady and the Bucs started off rough. It was a rough game for them. Everyone calm down, relax. Again, it's week 1. He still has to get used to that offense. Mike Evans was a little banged up. He didn't play the whole game. But Box, who checked your box on this game? Do you still have the Saints winning the NFC after seeing Aaron Rodgers torch up the Vikings?
Yes, I do. I want to just make, again, 3 quick points. Number 1, we talked about Alvin Kamara the day before, and we talked about how he had just gotten his contract. Comes out and just puts up 2 touchdowns immediately. I mean, he's just the man. He's amazing. Great contract for him. Proved he was damn worth it. And we talked about he earned his money. He deserved his money, and he showed why you gave him his money. Drew Brees is still Drew Brees. I mean, just razor sharp. That offense looks like it's clicking on all cylinders as usual. Sean Payton and Drew Brees, I mean, quarterback coach combo maybe of all time. You know, I mean, the what they've done together is amazing. And as far as Tom Brady, yes, he had the pick 6. And yes, he had a couple of bad throws. And yes, he is 43 and a half years old. So his arm might not be what it was before. Now, remember, he did bring them back. And at one point, they were only down a touchdown in the 3rd. So then, unfortunately, turnovers, et he did throw 3 picks. Didn't look all that sharp overall. And the defense only held up so much before. They gave up 31 points to the Saints. But the thing about Brady is Brady. He knows how to win. He knows how to do it. He's still getting used to that offense. But like we talked about Phillip Rivers, that arm is not what it once was. And that throw on that pick 6, he's got to know that at 43 and a half, you can't be trying to make that throw. Not in that situation. You got to do, short, middle of the field passing. You used to have the arm for that down and out. You probably don't have the zip to get it there anymore. Understandable, because you're 43 and a freaking half. But that's one he would want to have back. But at the end of the day, they still ran with the Saints pretty well. Like Coach said about the Vikings and Packers, I can see this game later in the year when it's in Tampa. Maybe they could flip the script. Maybe they could take one back from the Saints, because it wasn't, as much as the score might have looked lopsided at the end, he brought them back and they were down a touchdown. And he is still Tom Brady. That they may have to adjust certain things, and I leave that up to their head coach. Yes. That they need to work on Mike Evans, and certain things. Yes. But even Ronald Jones looked good. Fournette looked good. That offense looked pretty good. Got to work out some kinks. Got to work out some stuff. But at the end, the Saints look like they're for real. The defense looks better than I thought it was going to look. That offense is just amazing. And if they don't get in their own way, or God forbid any bad calls go their way, I see them in the Super Bowl again. Yeah,
it's to add to what you said about the bad calls. There's been countless times the Saints have maybe been screwed out of winning the playoffs, but that's not something we're going to talk about right now. But Arias does have to figure out what he can and cannot do with Tom Brady, because he is older. It is a division foe, and no, I'm not being hard on Tom Brady. Surprise, surprise. I'm a Dolphin fan. It's a new team. It's a new era for him. So it's going to take more than just 1 week for Tampa to figure this out. Coach, other than that throw, what do you see in Tampa that they have to improve? Or was it just a matter of they just aren't ready to take that next step against the Saints yet?
Well, I mean, I have to start off with that throw. That throw was an awful throw by Tom Brady. I think Bruce Arians was right for publicly saying that Tom Brady needed to make some corrections in his gameplay and the choices he made. That pass was to the short side of the field, and if Tom Brady has learned anything, it is to study your opposition. And for him to know that Janoris Jenkins floats around on that side of the field, that should not have been thrown to the backside of that receiver on the short side of the field, because Janoris Jenkins did what he naturally does. He read, he reacted, and it was 6 points going the other way. It's unfortunate, but for a lot of these teams, we're just going to look at week one as the preseason until these teams get up to speed. Other than that, he did make a good play to Godwin downfield, a great deep pass, beautiful. It looked like Tom Brady in New England. Next time around, these two teams, I think it'll be a better shootout.
Yeah, it's going to be a much better game, and once it is later on in the season. Another thing to add to that, Ronald Jones did look good. Fournette did look good too.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for Fournette. The problem with Fournette has never been that he doesn't look good. He always looks good. It's just a matter of getting him on the field healthy. So we look forward to the next matchup with the Saints and Tampa, as does everyone else in the NFL, because it's two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, two great coaches. It's a great division matchup right there. And it's not like in the past, it's the Saints and Buccaneers. No. Like, this is Saints Buccaneers. These guys are going to be NFC playoff bound and maybe see each other in the playoffs. We'll see. So looking forward to that next one. We're going to go from this game into a Super Bowl team. Surprise, surprise. The Arizona Cardinals. After the blockbuster trade, DeAndre Hopkins landed in Arizona in the offseason. And let me tell you something. It was worth the trade. Sorry, Houston. But Kyler Murray showed why he was a rookie of the season. DeAndre Hopkins is a weapon to be messing with in that. And he did it against one of the toughest defenses in the league today. The Cardinals upset the 49ers, Division 4 49ers. Box, who checks your box? What did you see in this game? Can the Cardinals build on this, or is it just one of those week one things where we're never going to see this again?
No, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I think back to when we're talking about fantasy quarterbacks, and we brought up Kyler Murray, and I'm like, listen, you get Kyler Murray in the seventh day. At the end of the day, we talked about his numbers. He's got good numbers. I was never a fan of his. I thought he was maybe a little too small, maybe a little bit too overhyped. I was wrong. I mean, he went up against the San Francisco 49ers in San Francisco, that vaunted defense that almost won a Super Bowl. And he ran on them. He passed on them. He ran on them some more. He passed on them some more. And then he ran on them some more to win the game. He looked great. There's no reason to think that under Cliff Kingsbury, he can't continue to make these kind of plays. I'm not saying it's an incredibly tough. They're probably the hardest division in the league, hands down. I'm not saying he can't continue to make these kind of plays, but eventually, obviously, he's not going to win them all. But you mentioned him. We talked about him when we talked about Houston. Houston Texans fans, please do not hate me. I'm sorry. I love you guys. Why in the hell did you trade Hop? You gave them DeAndre Hopkins. Gave them, because you basically gave them to them.
You want to talk about the best receiver in the NFC?
Okay, 14 catches. His personal, and he was a monster statistically last year and every year before. 14 catches, 151 yards on San Francisco with Kyler Murray throwing him the ball. The Cardinals are going to give people trouble. We said that before, and I'm going to say it again. The only problem the Cardinals have is the division they play in, because they're looking up at three monster teams. Actually, right now they're looking down because they won. But, the Cardinals are going to give people a lot of trouble. That defense is solid, you know. And one more thing I want to mention. The Niners, you know, listen, a game like this, it could happen to any given Sunday, any team, etc. But that George Kittle injury, you know, I hope it's not a season-ending injury. I hope it's not a long injury. But if that injury lingers and it puts him out half a season, for example, that's a huge blow. We talked about how much I love George Kittle. If George Kittle is missing on that team, it's a huge blow. It affects Garoppolo. It affects the running game. It affects the passing game. And it affects the defense because now if that offense isn't clicking with Kittle in there and they can't keep it going, that defense is going to get tired. And now you got to play Seattle. You got to play the Rams. We'll just talk about it a little bit. You know, you just lost to the Cardinals, and you still got the rest of it could be a problem. Something to watch out for. I hope Kittle's okay because I love him to death. So,
yeah. And I would definitely, for all the quote-unquote experts out there, I would definitely go through your schedules. And when you pick the Cardinals to lose, look at some of these teams and be careful. This defense played good. Kyler Murray, I know it's a real bad comparison because it's only his second year. Russell Wilson has been I mean, just look at his numbers. Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. There's nothing to say about him. But Kyler Murray looked a lot like Russell Wilson. His rollout ability, he was smart when he ran upfield. Anytime he would run, he got positive yards. He doesn't run when he doesn't have to run. He throws the ball when he has to throw the ball. He looked good. The man looked good. I'm not saying they're going to win the division. I'm not saying anything like that, but they're probably going to win a few more games than we all think. Coach, give me something on this game. How do you see? Are the 49ers really going to have a Super Bowl slump? Or was this just a matter of bad luck? You know, let's just call it no preseason. They're not warmed up yet.
Well, coming out the gate, if on third down you're only converting 2 for 13 for the game, that right there is a telltale sign of a long season. Possibly because George Kittle was out and that's their go-to guy on third down. But if you're only converting 2 or 13, it's no way in the world you're going to win any football games.
You have to stay on the field.
Definitely, and keep those drives going and keep the other team's offense off the field, especially an offense like Arizona. This week 1, I mean, you know, these guys came out clicking pretty good. I'm excited to see what week 4 will look like, and the Cardinals will look like in week 4.
Yeah, they're a team. If they, you know, hopefully Kittle get back on the field, get back healthy quickly, because you're a lot of fun to watch, and I never want to see anyone get hurt anyway. So, get back on the field. If not, guys, Cardinals might take their place in this division. Very, very likely. And that's going to be scary because the 49ers have a top pick. Oh, boy. I don't want to see a guy like Trevor on that team. It's not going to happen, but that'd be scary. And moving on to a guy we just mentioned, Russell Wilson. You can't have a Sunday review and not talk about his 4 touchdowns and his performance and just his consistency. The Seahawks, year in and year out, have proven that they are one of the best teams in the NFL. I wouldn't quite put them in the top 3, but they're definitely in my top 5. How far can the Seahawks get? Coach, they're well coached. Talk to me a little bit about the defense. Jamal Adams was all over the place. That defense looks re-energized. They're hitting people hard. And Russell Wilson could carry this team far.
I think Jamal Anderson had a hell of a game. I think he just needs to slow down a little bit and realize that it's going to be a long season, because he was very aggressive out there on the field. You know, this guy was everywhere. He was on the pass. He was on the runs. He was making sacks. So I mean, this guy was everywhere. So, you know, Jamal Adams and Seattle coaching staff, please pace Jamal Adams to keep him late in the season and for your playoff run, because Seattle, the way they played, and Kojak Russell Wilson, the way he torched your fantasy team, they will be in the playoffs.
I love how he, like, every 5 minutes he adds one of those in there. he gets one at every time, bro. I feel bad for you if you play Kelly.
Take your shots when you can get them, man.
Oh yeah, And in that league, I won, and Shaquan Barkley didn't do anything, by the way. Bucs, who checks your box other than Russell Wilson? Even though you can't pick anyone else.
Is there anything to talk about other than Russell Wilson? I mean, I remember I was watching the games on Sunday, and every time I looked up, I'm like, Wilson threw another one. Wilson threw another one. They're up 21-0. He's got 4. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, statistically speaking, Matt Ryan is leading the league in passing yards because he threw for 450 yards in that game.
I did see that.
Most of it was garbage time, and really had a good game. And yeah, he might have padded his stats. Russell Wilson just sliced through that entire defense. I mean, they tried to make a game out of it late. The Seahawks look good, man. And if Russell Wilson is upright, if Russell Wilson has time, Carson looked good coming out of the backfield. The defense looks solid. Again, their issue is they're in the toughest division in football. But Russell Wilson, I mean, what are you going to say? Whether it's fantasy, whether it's reality, whether it's the Matrix, or whether it's not. Russell Wilson threw 4 touchdowns week 1. He's currently tied for the league lead. There's nothing that's going to tell me that in week 16 he's probably not going to have the league lead in touchdowns because he's just that good. Now I would like to obviously see Carson, Metcalf, the weapons that they're giving him. Give him time, have that offensive line hold up like we talked about earlier. And you do that, he's a special quarterback. He's a future Hall of Fame quarterback. Just give him his time, and he'll give you the win.
Yeah, he has an amazing story considering that when he got drafted, everyone was like, "Oh, he's too small," kind of like Kyler Murray. Just saying, but it's just like Aaron Rodgers. It's like he didn't have an off season. He just another day in the office. We shall see how far these teams get. With that, guys, we want to talk about the Bills pouncing the Jets. I know the Jets almost got back in the game, even though they really didn't. The Bills kind of pounced on them.
Josh Allen looked good. The Bills looked terrible. Sorry, not the Bills. The Josh Allen looked good. The Bills looked good. The Jets looked terrible. Jets fans, I'd like to feel sorry for you, but I grew up a Dolphin fan, so I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
You're stuck with Adam Gase, man. I mean, I don't even know what to tell you. I mean, you're talking about a guy who just put Le'Veon Bell on IR for the year, and he just picked up Kalen Ballage, and he sees that as a positive move. I mean, good luck. As just a sports fan, good luck. The Bills look good. The Bills look solid. Josh Allen looks solid. However, Josh Allen is a supreme talent, great arm, great athletic ability. But we talked about it when we talked about the AFC East, man. There's a couple of those throws that he wasn't very sharp on. And it was fine and dandy when you're playing the Jets. But when you're playing a serious team that's got a safety over the middle, linebacker over the middle, those are going to be picks. So, yeah, it's all well and good when you're up, 27-3 or whatever it was. It doesn't matter because you're just annihilating the team in front of you. There was a couple of times he didn't look all that sharp. Going forward, again, relax. 21 game. He looked good that one game. Statistically, he looked great. I mean, fantasy. Anybody who has him on fantasy must have had a great week. But in real life, those little floaters that he can't seem to get down, they're gonna come back to haunt him. Remember, I said
Phil's fans be warned. Josh Allen's gonna throw a pick and end your season.
Oh yeah.
And y'all thought we were going to not talk about Joe Burrow and his performance.
Bad for him because of that horrible call before that. It reminded me of the Miami Ohio State game. Go ahead, Coach.
Coach, go ahead.
Before we talk about Joe Burrow, let me just jump in right quick and talk about these Detroit Lions. This right here had to be the letdown of the week.
I'm so glad you brought up that game. Go ahead. Go ahead.
These guys kill me. The total wins for Matt Patricia since he has taken over the Detroit Lions is 9. The number of blown fourth quarter leads since Patricia has taken over is 10. Coach, what are you doing? You're a defensive guy. Please Detroit needs to play 4 quarters of defense in the game, so we can get some wins. You're killing me on my tickets, man. You're killing me.
I don't know what to say.
Can I go? I'm gonna run right through it. It's very simple. I was watching the score of that game the whole time. I said it was gonna be an ugly game. I specifically said I picked the Bears in an ugly game. It was an ugly game the whole way. But the Lions were winning. Bears looked terrible. All of a sudden, I keep looking at the score. I'm like, oh, the Bears scored. Oh, yeah, the Bears scored again. Wait a minute, the Bears scored again? The Bears are up? Then I found out how. I ended up seeing the highlights because I was watching another game. Mitch Trubisky throws 3 fourth-quarter. You let Mitch Trubisky throw 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns. And if that's not bad enough, with all that blown lead and everything the coach just talked about, Matthew Stafford throws, and I only use this word when I really mean it, an absolute dime through your boy to your boy DeAndre Swift over the outstretched hands of 2 defenders, right in the front of the end zone, right where the pylon is, and the ball just hits him right here. He didn't take a step. He didn't bring it in. It just hit both his hands. It hit between, the 2 and the 1, and it just dropped. And I think that was 3rd down. Then they had one more shot at, but that was the game. As a matter of fact, I heard the radio call of that game, and it must have been heartbreaking because it sounded something like this. Stafford back to pass. He's got Swift. Swift got, oh my God, he dropped it. Like they were so excited for like literally a split second because he wanted to say he caught. Oh my God, he dropped it. Oh my God, no! Like it was and like the old saying goes, if I didn't have bad luck, I would have no luck at all. Well, I mean, between the blown fourth-quarter leads, we talked about Patricia not being able to really build a defense, or at least the defense that he wanted. And then on top of everything, on top of Trubisky and the blown lead and everything, your star rookie just drops a dime that literally Stafford just dropped in there. I mean, how many different ways are you going to find to lose? I mean, I kind of felt good for the Lions most of the game. I'm like, hey, that's fine. I'll take the loss. I picked the Bears. The Lions won. I'm good. I'm happy for them. And then I saw the outcome. I'm like, oh my God, you poor guys. I like the Lions. I've liked the Lions ever since, dating back to the days of Barry Sanders. But poor Stafford, poor Lions fans. I'm sorry for you guys. It was just horrible. It was painful.
Right,
it was painful.
Let's not relax. Let's not write off Swift just because he dropped one pass. Relax.
No. I'm not writing him off. I'm just calling it out. He dropped the game winner. That's it.
Welcome to the big leagues, kid.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
all I gotta say about that. We'll go ahead with Joe Burrows. I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe Trubisky is taking a turn, and we're blaming the wrong person here. I'm just what is it?
Devil's advocate. You're playing devil's advocate.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
the Lions are just that bad. Maybe the Lions are just that
We'll go with that
coach.
one because it's the Lions, but we'll see. Week 1, week 2, maybe Trubisky throws 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter next week. By the way, don't start him on your fantasy team. Don't bet on that. Joe Burrows, first game, first overall pick, first game in the NFL. Johnny, what did you see? Actually, no, Coach. I'm gonna go with Coach because he's a coach, man. Let me give it to Bonnie. Coach, what did you see in Joe Burrows? Is he the deal, or? Well, I mean, it's not his fault that they lost. They probably should have won that game, but that's
all summer long, I've been reading articles about Joe Burrow, and they was talking about his leadership qualities and his motivation, the way he can fire up teams and all of that. And I kept saying that this is just media hype that they're trying to pump this kid up. But the way he played in his first game, his first professional game Sunday, I think he has some great attributes to be a great cornerstone for the Cincinnati Bengals. That quarterback draw where he had that long run on, I don't think the opposing team was expecting that at all. And, I mean, for him to run the way he ran, the kid looked great. The kid really looked great. Cincinnati, in the next 2-3 years, please support this kid. You have a gym in Cincinnati right now.
Yeah, that's going to be the most important thing moving forward. It is going to be how much protection they could get him, playmakers around him, build that defense up, because he is the real deal. He showed it at college, and as far as for 1 week in the NFL so far, he showed that he's going to be the real deal. Bucs, obviously it's Burrow, so checks your box. Give me your Cincinnati Bengals talk.
Real quick, I said one word when we were talking about Joe Burrow. We were talking about the AFC North. I said one word when we talked about him in college, and I used the word moxie. Moxie, Joe Namath style, forgive my French, balls. You know, he's got guts, he's got balls, and let me tell you something. I grew up pretty much my entire life watching the great Dan Marino. And I'd been in stadiums where I saw Dan Marino throw picks and just get mad at himself, throw pick sixes and get mad at himself that he almost cost him the game. And he would just dust it off because he was Dan Marino, you know. And he said, don't worry about that. Listen, don't worry about that. Give me the ball back. I got it. Just give me the ball back, because it was Dan Marino. This kid graded himself a D because he thinks he played bad. He threw a pick that basically almost cost him the game and cost him the lead, even though he had that great run that coach talked about. He said, I got the ball. We're down 3. I'm going to take this team all the way down, and we're going to score, and we're going to win. And he did it. Except, of course, for the refs. That offensive pass interference call on A.J. Green was astronomically, mind-bogglingly, and the funny thing is it happened to an Ohio team, because Ohio State University won a national championship with an errant offensive pass interference. And yes, I haven't gotten over that. I'm sorry, I haven't.
We're never gonna get over that.
I'm not having gotten over that. That was a horrendous call, and that was a horrendous time to make that call. The field goal was just a cherry on top of how bad. Like, dude, help this kid out. This kid, you know, took it upon himself to run for a touchdown. Yes, he made the mistake. He got dusted himself off, drove you the length of the field, and threw you a winning touchdown. Number one, you're not going to give it to him on a bad call, and then you're going to miss the field goal. You know, listen, Joe Burrow, don't grade yourself a D. I grade yourself at least a B, you know, B plus, whatever. This kid has it. There's an it factor, and he has it. I think they got to put weapons around him in Cincinnati, and hopefully things break a little bit better for him. But he showed it week 1. He's got moxie. He's got the stones, man. He's got the stones to dust himself off after a mistake, and that is what makes great quarterbacks. I was very impressed with Joe Burrow.
I don't know, man. I don't know. You said don't grade yourself a D. Good for Joe Burrows for blaming himself and not blaming the referee. I think that's a good attribute of a leader, to blame yourself and don't call it's not the ref's fault, it's my fault. Good for him. That he's not blaming anyone, and he's going to go back out there week 2 and prove the league that he's, you know, maybe he does go back out there and win in week 2. I don't think he is going to, but maybe.
We'll talk about that soon.
The Browns, we're not even going to – look, I thought we were talking about the Browns and Ravens today like it was some sort of big deal.
Listen,
let me tell you something. The Ravens have wiped – you want to talk about wiped the ground with the Cleveland Browns. Where are you? Are you even – there was no preseason. We're past the preseason. This is regular week 1. Hello, Cleveland. Is there anyone there? Obviously not, because the Ravens put your face in the mud. That's my rant on the Browns.
Before Coach goes, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna sound like Bill Belichick, because it was like the one-word answers. This is very simple. Ravens good, Browns really bad. I mean, 38-6.
You got the sleep. You got the sleep going on.
The MVP, Lamar Jackson, just annihilated you. You guys looked horrible. We talked about the Browns, man. The Browns gotta get their stuff together. Now they're talking about trading OBJ after 1 week. Coach, I mean, I don't know what you saw in this game, but I just saw an annihilation. Just a destruction of Cleveland.
I mean, yeah, if anyone could give us anything on the Browns, it's going to be Coach. Is there any shining light in this team, or are they really that bad?
I actually thought the game was going to be a lot closer. If you click back and watch our AFC North podcast, I told directly that for the Cleveland Browns to have a chance and for the whole NFC North to stop the Baltimore Ravens, please look at film from last year. The Baltimore Ravens came to the game, showed up, lined up, played, and ran plays exactly as they did last year, and Cleveland did nothing to stop them at all. Never. I mean, Lamar Jackson looked great. The passing game looked great. Running game looked great. And the defense just slaughtered them.
Yeah. Exactly what I was about to say was that the Ravens look like they are pissed that they got embarrassed in the playoffs, and they are coming for throats this season. For one, I'll say it again, and I've said it for 2 seasons. I know the show's only been around for 2 months, but for 2 seasons, I have said that Lamar Jackson is an amazing seasoned talent. But until you prove that you can win the playoffs, I do not believe in you. I will watch the shit out of you, and the ratings will be sky high. But do I think you're the next Patrick Mahomes? Are you going to go to the Super Bowl this season? It's still week 1, but that's your Browns and Ravens talk. There's not much to talk about. The Ravens look like they're off for the throats of teams this season, and they might completely slap everyone around. But we all know they're going to be in the playoffs. Everyone knows they're going to be in the playoffs. Their question isn't what they do during the regular season. Honestly, we could all really care less what they do during the regular season. We want to see week 1, divisional playoffs, divisional rounds for them. That's their question. And we'll get Monday night. Barkley.
Before you do, 2 words: Gardner Minshew. God bless you. 19 of 20. 19 of 20 to start, and a win against the Indianapolis Colts. Well, we thought that, and the entire league thought they had no chance. This guy, and I used the word moxie with him too. I told him he's a modern day Joe Namath. I'm waiting for him to walk out with that incredible 70s porn stash with the hair, and I'm waiting for him to walk out in a mink coat, man. He was built. He's like a 70s quarterback. 19 of 20 on the very, very good Indianapolis Colts defense. Shredded them. I mean, wow. Again, just 1 game, just 1 week. Jaguars won. 19 of 20 is impressive. God bless you.
God bless you, Minshew. Let's talk about a little bit about the boring Monday night. On top of the fact that it was 3 o'clock in the morning. No. We're not done with Sunday yet.
No. We got to talk about the Sunday nighter. We got to talk about the Rams and the Cowboys. Coach, I want you to go first because I want to talk about the offense and the defense, and I want you to talk about the Rams and the Cowboys. Man.
I have nothing to say. I got
plenty.
Do you want to know what I have to say? It was in the NFC East episode. Dak Prescott. I'm calling for Dak Prescott's benching. That's all I'm going to say.
No.
Kelly, take it away.
Yeah, go.
I'm saying it. If whatever, I don't care what anyone says. Me personally, I'm calling for Dak Prescott's benching. That's
Coach,
it.
you have the floor.
I'm done with the Dak Prescott talk. You don't deserve the money. You deserve to be benched. And please bring in Andy Dalton because this team is too good to be losing.
Well, I don't believe in Andy Dalton. So that's the first thing I can say. but let me steal a little bit of your fire. And how about that Rams offense? And Kojak, once again, Mr. Woods, he torched you for how many points, Kojak?
Ooh.
Please, Kojak, what was the score?
Kojak got it on Sunday.
Kojak, you got the business this week, homie. You got the business this week.
He literally told me that on a text. He called, man, Kelly just whooped my ass.
You don't want that smoke week 1. You got it. You got the smoke.
But that McVay offense was dynamic. It looked like the old McVay offense, the Super Bowl Rams team. The game plan was a McVay style offense. I was very impressed. The running game, Cam Akers, it looks like you'll be a good change of pace back, but it looks like Mr. Brown from here going forward will possibly be the man to get most of the carries. Box.
Yeah, I mean, Box, go ahead because I gave my speech.
There's 2 bits of, and I'm glad that the coach took it first. There's 2 bits of coaching that we're going to talk about. You could talk about Jared Goff. You could talk about Aaron Donald. You could talk about the Dallas line. Ezekiel Elliott, which looked phenomenal behind that Dallas line, did everything he could to win the game. And Dak, Dak being Dak, but Dak did everything he could to win the game. Two things. Number one, Sean McVay, never mind this. I guess the Super Bowl, he's over the Super Bowl hangover because that offense looked like it was clicking. He was shuttling in 3 different running backs. They were running on Dallas. They were passing on Dallas. Robert Woods over the middle. The tight ends got involved. Jared Goff was on. I mean, that offense was clicking on Dallas. And honestly, against a lesser defense, a lesser team, they would have put up 50. I'm not gonna. The offense looked amazing. Sean McVay. If anybody wants to call him a genius, I will back them because he deserves it. He really, really looks like he's back on track. Great. Now let's talk about the coach on the other side. I'm going to tell you guys a little story. Little story.
Let me guess, it has Aaron Rodgers included.
No. It has actually nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. In 1981, I was a young lad in San Antonio, Texas, because that's where my parents were. I was in 1981. I was still learning English. While I was learning English, because I wasn't born here, I was born in Cuba, I learned about something called American football. When you're in San Antonio in 1981, the only way you learn about American football is you watch the Dallas Cowboys. And when I watched the Dallas Cowboys in 1981, they had a punter and a quarterback because the punter was their quarterback and the quarterback was their punter, a guy named Danny White. But they also had a running back named Tony Dorsett, who was pretty damn good. They had just come off a really good run in the entire decade of the 70s. They had won a Super Bowl in 77, but I caught them in the early 80s where they were kind of on a downturn. But I saw American football through the Dallas Cowboys. I saw Tom Landry. I saw Jimmy Johnson. I saw the 90s teams. Yes, I came to Miami in 85, and I've been a Dolphin fan ever since. But I always follow the Cowboys because that's the first team I ever saw. So I know what I'm talking about when I say I understand the struggle of having to deal with a guy like Jason Garrett as your coach for so many years, and then you get all happy about Mike McCarthy when I got a guy who's a Packers fan. Rob, this is for you. We've talked about this a lot. We never really thought too much of McCarthy. I think it was more Rodgers than McCarthy that drove that Packer team. And you could talk all you want about Dak Prescott, but he brought him down to try a field goal, which would have tied the game. And they were well within range. And this horse decides to go for it on 4th down in the 4th quarter with the game on the line as opposed to taking the 3 points and tying the freaking game. So I'm sorry. You can't put that on Dak Prescott. I put that on Mike McCarthy. And I'm going to tell you.
Fine, don't mention Dak Prescott. Sorry.
And I'm going to tell you, Cowboys. I'm going to tell you something else about you Cowboys fans, something else. I love your team. I love a lot of players on your team. And I got a long history watching the Dallas Cowboys. I would feel a lot more shaky, a lot shakier in my boots going forward about Mike McCarthy and his coaching style than I would about Dak Prescott. And he just proved it. I mean, I don't know of any coach who I consider to be a great coach who gives up points. I mean, the whole point of the game is to score more points than the other guy.
Hey, man, that's just credit. It's credit to Coach. Like, Coach, I think, said that during the AFC. Why do I keep messing up conferences? NFC East talk. I think, Coach, you were the one that said about McCartney, no? You were sure it was a great signing?
Yes.
I think we mentioned that. But yeah, it was a tight game. You know, they could have tied it. I think the Rams look better than the Cowboys. It's only one game. The Cowboys still have that line. They still got Zeke. They still got Amari Cooper. They still got that rookie CeeDee Lamb, which I really, really like. You know, and Dak Prescott, say what you want about him. He's still going to put up numbers. He's going to give you a chance to win. I don't think he's ever going to win a Super Bowl, but he's going to give you a chance to win. He's going to get a chance at the belt. I'm a lot more worried about McCarthy. And you Cowboys fans, you might be in for a longer season than you think. Yeah, you might win your games here and there. But if these guys get into the playoffs, McCarthy's going to be the guy to bring you down. Remember I said it.
You heard here, breaking news. Minshew's going to take the Jaguars to the playoffs, and McCarthy's going to cost the Cowboys the Super Bowl.
I love it.
God bless you, Minshew.
Now, God bless you.
That has to be our thing. That's going to be our life for the rest of the season.
Minshew, God bless you. Now we can talk about Monday night.
Monday nights. Look, I could give you the whole spiel on stats and all that, but I'll leave you guys to the stats. Story of Monday night: Saquon Barkley didn't show up. The Steelers are the Steelers, and the Titans should basically be called the Tennessee Derrick Henrys, because that's it. That's the story of Monday night. The Steelers are just better than the Giants right now. I said that in the last episode, the prediction: the Steelers are just better than the Giants. I didn't expect Saquon Barkley not to show up, but that's Monday night. Coach, add something. How did the Steelers defense stop a guy like Saquon Barkley, or was it just Saquon Barkley needed some preseason warm-ups? I don't know. Maybe he's still – I don't know. Give me something, because it's hard to explain a talent like Saquon Barkley not showing up.
One of my biggest gripes with Saquon Barkley has always been that this kid will not hit no holes. This kid, he gets to the hole and dances, and sometimes it's dynamic, but most of the time it gets him stopped at the line of scrimmage. The athletic ability that this kid has, he needs to, when he takes the handoff, he needs to just hit the hole. Games when he does that, he makes big plays. He hurdles players. He makes defenders miss, and he runs through defenders. But when he gets to the hole and freezes, he cannot do that. Pass blocking, Saquon, I don't care if it's a breakdown in the offensive line and your pass blocking. Find somebody to block. When Pittsburgh is sending the house, find somebody. There are basic rules to blocking. It's always you take the inside man because the inside man is the closest man to the quarterback. So if the lineman picks him up, you need to pick up the next man after that. Pittsburgh sent all kind of packages at him. I think a second or third stringer outside linebacker even got a sack that game. Hats off to Mike Tomlin for coming out first game of the season and punishing the New York Giants the way they deserve. Big Ben, shout out to him. He's back. My son's favorite receiver, Juju. Hey, great game, guy. I love you guys. Pittsburgh gonna make a run for it.
Yeah, they're gonna be there. Let's all relax. It's week 1. I don't know. But Mike Tomlin, you brought up Boxes on myself, almost favorite coach in the NFL, and Mike Tomlin showed why he is Mike Tomlin. He week 1 coming into a primetime Monday night game against a team that last season made some strides in getting better, and they kind of everyone in the league was kind of like, oh, I don't know, this and that. And they kind of slapped the Giants and put them back in their place. Like, relax, we're still the Pittsburgh Steelers. Don't forget about us. Not just yet. Mike Tomlin, that run isn't over yet. Box, other than, who checks your box? Big Ben, a defense. What do you got?
Couple of quick things. Number one, Mike Tomlin. I mean, you know how I feel about him. I've mentioned him on multiple shows. Mike Tomlin is just amazing. He just always finds a way to just game plan with whatever he's got, whoever he's got. If he's got the best or he's got the worst, he's going to come at you and he's going to find a way to make the game interesting. As a matter of fact, yes, Rob, this is for you because we talked a lot about Saquon Barkley. It is only one game. But yes, he's got to step up his game, and Tomlin did an amazing job of shutting down what I consider to be still one of the best running backs in the league. Now, that notwithstanding, Saquon, that offensive line, Joe Judge, the play calling, he is a very, very. I mean, he's an amazing talent, but you got to give him, and he has to, like your coach said, he's got to find those holes. He's got to hit those holes. But you know that he's done it. It's not like he hasn't done it. It's not like he all of a sudden forgot how to be a really good running back. He just had a really, really bad game. When the opposing team's quarterback is named Ben Roethlisberger, he's a Hall of Famer, outrushes you, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And he outrushed Saquon Barkley. At least for 1 week, I have egg on my face because I was praising Saquon Barkley left and right, and he had a horrific game.
Yeah, but I think everyone needs to relax. I think Saquon, it was just a little nervous this game.
It was, it's one game. Listen, Barry Sanders is the greatest running back I ever saw. And I can tell you right now, I saw games where Barry Sanders had negative yards because his line let him down, the coach let him down. Games like this are going to happen. It's just one game. Now that they got a lot of work to do, Joe Judge has a lot of work to do. Saquon's got a lot of work to do. That notwithstanding, Big Ben looks really, really good. Juju looked good. Tomlin looked good. Connor got hurt. And a guy that we're going to talk about when we do our fantasy show upcoming that you'll see in the next couple of days, Benny Snell. If he's available in your league, pick him up because he ran roughshod on that Giants defense. Obviously, because the Steelers' offensive line is very good, but he picked up the slack for James Conner. He had over 100 yards. Looks really, really good, and maybe for the short term, maybe even for the long term, depending on how hard Conner is, he's a guy going forward who can give you something. So, Rob, Saquon had a bad game. I'm sorry, Saquon. I still have faith in you, man. I love you. So get it together. Get back on the horse, and show these people that I'm right and they're wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. God bless you. Big ups to Coach, man. Coach, you came up with some good thing for Saquon, right? I always butcher that guy's name, and I feel
Saquon
Barkley.
Saquon
Barkley. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Mr. Barkley. I always butcher the shit out of your name. No disrespect to you. I expect you to be good week 2 because you were my number 1 overall pick, and I picked you over Christian McCaffrey, and I want to put that on everyone's face at the end of the season. So please, I'm not going to bench you week 2, but
And now we come to the last game.
No, do we have to talk about this? I mean, what's there to talk about?
I want to talk about one thing and one thing only. Okay. Just give me one thing.
All right, we'll talk about it. Go. We'll talk about the Tennessee Titans beating the Denver Broncos. Go ahead.
It was a great game. Tough game. Gostkowski. We could talk about the Broncos showing up. We could talk about Phillip Lindsay getting hurt, which kind of sucked. Gordon looked pretty good. Broncos held it down. Second half, they kind of wore down a little bit. Derrick Henry is just an animal. Derrick Henry. But I saw this multiple times, and I'm going to say it again. And this is not that I hate Ryan Tannehill, but I'm going to say it again. Ryan Tannehill has had a problem with pocket presence his entire career. In that game, even though he might have driven him down for the game-winning field goal and a couple of nice little passes, yes, when he plays a team that wasn't missing Von Miller, when he plays the Ravens with the defense they have and they tee off on him, they're in trouble because he showed even yesterday after 8-9 years in the league and leading the league in passing last year, he, for some reason in the pocket, just does not know where the pressure's coming from, cannot see it, cannot feel it, has no pocket presence. Handing off to Derrick Henry is great. Passes over the middle to Davis are great. That's all well and good. That lack of pocket presence is going to catch up to you. And that is why I think that Tannehill is not elite. Not that I don't like him because he has a game-winning drive and a game-winning field goal drive, and he played pretty decently yesterday. But there were times that he was still Tannehill. So Titans fans, get ready.
All right, Coach. So I'm going to add on to what Johnny said. You gave some advice to Saquon. Give Ryan – I know it is said a lot that quarterbacks have to have a little clock in their head that tells them to step up or to do whatever, feel the pressure. That's all, since we do not have eyes behind our back, that's all in the sense of the quarterback, and that's just what pocket presence is. Give Ryan Tannehill some hints on how to become better at pocket presence, please. Please help that guy out because we all like him. Us three like him. Like, we think he's good. We just don't think he's worth the money that he got. But that's, we're not talking about that right now. But give him some advice so that the Ravens don't kill the poor guy.
Well, first off, Ryan Tannehill, the first thing I need to say is that you have to be ready to get hit. You can take it back to old school football. You can count 3 Mississippi and go. By the time you come up from the center or the ball hits your hand, if you don't have it off in 1003, you need to use your legs and run, because Tannehill, you do have the ability to run. So definitely 1001, 1002, 1003, you need to go. I mean, 1005, if you go that far, if you're in shotgun or something, definitely count. But you have to not be afraid to get tackled because those guys are coming. I really believe that teams are going to challenge you to make plays downfield and stack the box. 8 guys in the box to stop Derrick Henry, because when Denver had Derrick Henry contained, the defense was looking good, pressure was coming, and they weren't respecting the play action. But for whatever reason, they let up, and Tannehill and Derrick Henry and Tannehill, you all took over and won the game. Hats off to you all.
There's some very good words for Ryan Tannehill. Hopefully he uses them. Hopefully he's watching. Hopefully he listens, because I want nothing but success for that guy. He's such a nice person for the community. He was great for the community in Miami. And with that being said, guys, ladies and gentlemen, that is your week 1. It's a wrap. Week 1 on to week 2. If you have not already, please do like, subscribe. Most importantly, we want to hear your thoughts. Comment. Push your team. You want us to talk more about your team, not make fun of them? I don't know. Say something in the comments, and we'll answer it. Also, you got some insight from a coach, Bucs. Maybe someday he'll bring back the Matrix. I don't know. I hope not. With that being said,
it's coming, man. I got a lot of tricks up my sleeve.
Week 1 has been a blast. On to week 2. Good night.
Piper, week 2, you're going down, buddy.
Good night, guys.
The fantasy shot out of control.